So tell me about your experience in New Mexico. What were you doing there?
I went for the White Tantric Yoga Summer Solstice Sadhana, hosted by 3HO, the Kundalini organization, international, at the mother ashram there by Española, New Mexico, just north of Santa Fe, just south of Taos. Beautiful area, beautiful place to practice yoga. Yeah, really beautiful celebration. I've been going since 2016, 2017. And this was my 10th solstice.
Wow.
I kind of bounce between the two, the summer and winter celebration, which is in Florida. So, I'm a part of the community there now. I know, familiar with a lot of people. I'm close with a few of them. And it's been smaller, like last year and this year, since the lockdowns and everything. But it's starting to grow again. We had twice as many people as last year, 400 at our peak. But years past, in 2019, it was like 2,000. Yeah, really powerful energy, group energy, a lot of people doing a lot of good work on the spiritual level.
What does Tantric mean? Because there's many meanings that word carries.
Sure. It has a very charged connotation, has that sexual charge to it. I think it is about the sexes and the polarities of masculine and feminine, yang and yin. Essentially, it can be translated in many different ways. It's about like weaving those opposites together and weaving like a fabric, which becomes stronger the more it's woven. And if it's just one thread, it's easily split, but if it's multiple, it becomes tight and strong. So that's the principle of all of us coming together in this way to do a weaving with our partner and the group consciousness like that. Yeah, and then definitely like neo-tantra, Western tantra, it's become overly sexualized, or there's an attachment to that pleasure principle, whereas that's not what it's about. In fact, it's about going beyond the addiction to pleasure. Really, it's healing at the deepest level of our karma and our sankharas, our deeply held patterns. And it's healing the Svadhisthana chakra, where those unconscious deep karmas are held, the sexual center.
You had some experiences that you wanted to share with us from the exercises and from...
Yeah, sure. They were pretty simple and easy. Like people, they generally talk about them being very challenging, and they can be. But then most of the White Tantra days I've done are very basic and not so challenging. I would say like at the physical level, the exercise, the asanas, the postures we're holding were easy this time around. The hardest part is probably just the sitting for long durations, being still, and like feeling the discomfort in the hips and knees, legs, or the back.
How do you deal with the discomfort?
You allow it, you sit with it, and try to just like not distract from it, but like focus on it, and then zoom out your focus to the entire awareness, the body and the field of awareness and whatever you're listening or hearing. We incorporate mantras in the practice, which are super, super helpful, keeping the mind attuned to higher consciousness vibrations.
What were some of the takeaways from these exercises?
I got a lot of downloads, especially at one point. I'll take my ring off. We were doing some magic work with our index finger. We were just like circling it around. And then we were doing that with the hands, keeping the index finger pointed up, circling the hands around. And then we crisscrossed the arms. Those are like 3 exercises in a row. And we recognize the index finger in yogic esoteric anatomy to be representative of Jupiter, the planet, energy that carries like great spiritual knowledge and wisdom and intuition. So I was getting a lot of good information coming in, guidance, direction for my life, next steps to take. And those were the first 3 exercises of day 2, and me and my partner like immediately dropped in. Whereas like a lot of times it'll take like toward the second half of the day, like her and I, Maria Jesus, who actually is from Schaumburg, she's living here. She's from Spain originally, but we were able to really drop in with like very pure light consciousness together. So takeaways, I would say just the takeaways, like the spiritual strength I take from it to bring back home. There's just that, it's just so nourishing to be a part of such a experience over the course of 3 days, coming together and intertwining our fabrics, our energies as a big group like that. And then also like for me, just being such a pillar for my partners and like a gentle, strong man for these women. It makes me feel seen. I'm being seen, like, they're looking in my eyes, seeing me, listening to me. We're meditating together. We're dropping into states of shunya, emptiness, the void, and really clarifying. If anything, take away is actually the perfect word, because it's taking away all the bullshit. And I can even experience that, like, thoughts that are being released, and I'm not like identifying or attaching to them as they're going. They're arising and they're passing, and I'm just like watching them leave in a way. And some of those thoughts, run deep, and it's good to bring healing to those deep parts of myself.
So, you mentioned you and your partner dropped in at the beginning of the second day.
Oh yeah.
What does that mean? And what does that feel like?
So we're gazing into each other's eyes. We're sitting in close proximity, like knee to knee, and the energy is becoming blurred between her and I, and also between our neighboring fellow practitioners in the whole group consciousness, I imagine. And it looks like I'm just able to hone in with her, be entirely present with her, and with what we're both experiencing together. And even though my eyes are wide open, like my peripheral awareness will kind of pulse in and out, and all of a sudden, like, I'm just entirely 100% with her and nothing else. And I'm listening to her chant, she's listening to me. We're in the same moment together, just entirely, with whatever's present at the multidimensional, emotional, mental, spiritual level. It's often one of us will start tearing up, the other will tear up or hold beautiful space, presence for them. And when I say drop in, I'm referring to like this inner reality, kind of beyond the surface level experience. We're still aware of that, but then there's a truth of like the witness or the reality within that's beyond what we're experiencing. And what we're experiencing is often highly challenging through that emotional, psychic, or like I said, the physical part as well. So dropping into shunya, dropping into emptiness, 0 point field. And that's what the polarity is bringing as well. So this year at the White Tantra, we had a monsoon.
A monsoon?
A monsoon, essentially, yeah.
Wow.
Came in. I guess monsoons last longer, but this was like a few hours. Or a longer than that. All night.
Tropical storm?
Yeah, really strong. It generally rains during or after the White Tantra, because we call in the storm, just doing that shamanic, tantric, elemental work. And this year it was like a storm of the century. We had flash floods.
Wow.
We had tents that were absolutely destroyed. We had structures that were destroyed that had been there for decades. So yeah, the worst storm there in like 50 years. There was, it's in the mountains, and during the winter there's snow, and so there's a river that flows through there, but I've never seen water in there. And there was like a raging river, roaring river this year. Where I'd been walking earlier along this riverbed, there was water the next day. a couple of people's lives were threatened. One of them was in her tent in the flood area. Another was in like a bathroom that was destroyed. But they were rescued. And then we didn't sleep in our tents that night. We all went to like permanent structures. Yeah, powerful. In years past, we've had like dust devils destroy huge tents, and people be injured in that way. We also had a tornado warning and like heavy storms in Florida one year. And then I'll never forget, one year, the last exercise, we closed our eyes and we chanted Waheguru. And then for the last moment, when she said exhale, or inhale, raise your arms, exhale, release them. The moment we released our arms, downpour. And I remember I had to close my eyes, it was blue sky. I opened them, stormy clouds. And we were so overjoyed that we had brought the rain in like that. Last exercise, clearing day. And we started like doing rain dances. And whenever we would stop dancing, the rain would peter out. And we'd start dancing again, the rain would come back.
Wow.
And that was the first I knew you could like really work with the weather and shamanism like that. And that summer I chanted morning call 2.5 hours at the beach in Chicago, and I could see the way that the clouds would clear for me for the sunrise. At least that was my experience.
Oh, beautiful. That sounds really nice, actually. It sounds like something I would love to do.
Control the weather?
Go do morning call by the beach.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome to.
Yeah. Are you doing that anytime coming up?
Yeah.
That should be a session.
Cool, we'll be
It's
down.
fun.
Morning call's the best.
Yeah. Very fun. It's been a while for me that I've gone to sadhana. Don't know why. Something just, it's like an electrical, like when you have something plugged in and when you unplug it, it's like I needed to unplug. But I don't know why I can't stay plugged for long periods of time.
Well, you don't have a personal sadhana, right?
I don't have what?
A personal sadhana for Kundalini yoga.
No.
Yeah, the commitment and the consistency and the discipline is a must.
It
And
really
that
is.
it's helpful, like I lead the group sadhana. Like today we had 5 people, and if I wasn't doing it, maybe they would have a morning practice, but it probably wouldn't be 2.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they wouldn't practice. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of, this summer I like to practice sadhana outside, but then if I do that, I can't really, I can invite a friend or two, but it's kind of different if I'm at a studio, which then I don't mind that during the winter, but when it's nice, I do like to have my own personal practice.
Yeah.
So we'll see how I balance that this season. I know people are asking me about sadhana, and that's one thing if they ask, it's another thing if they are present and show up.
Yeah.
So, and I managed sadhana here for years, since 2016, and I managed sadhana at the Solstice. And, definitely sadhana, group sadhana, very important. And I really need to balance that with my own personal higher sadhana, like 2.5 hours of morning call, for instance. Powerful practice.
Yeah. I really do want to work myself back into the space that I was when I was going, weekly.
Mm-hmm. More than you were going pretty regularly.
I don't know why, but it almost feels like my body is having what is the word for
Resistance? Friction?
Resistance.
Friction.
Resistance is the word.
Resistance is a good word
My body's
to
having
contemplate.
resistance to it.
Well, it's a big ask to get there early. I did move it to 5 a.m. Japji 4:40. There's the hormonal balance, glandular nervous system balance, sleep rhythm, natural rhythm, the cycles. You never want to mess with that, right? So, I'm used to getting up and doing this,
Yeah.
but people who are new to it, you can't just jump right into, or you could try, but you have to really steady yourself, work hard to take care.
I was having no issues with it.
Oh no, okay.
Right? I was like getting up, I was up, I was
But you were tired, I remember.
ready to go. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was, you're right. In some of those instances, I was very tired.
Well, that was, I think, like during the winter when the sun was rising pretty late. These days it's rising very early, so it makes sadhana easier. And then it's like, well, should I start earlier
Yeah.
to get the 2.5 hours? Because, I mean, there's the magic Amrit Vela, or Brahma Muhurta, so I pronounced that right, where, you know, the 2.5 hours before the sun is rising, the light is returning, the unconscious is dispelling, so we're practicing with that.
The veils between the different dimensions are thinner.
Yeah, and it's a most beautiful everyday phenomenon, the rising sun, light of the world returning, and we can like consciously relate with that within ourselves to bring the light to the darkness of our unconscious.
Yeah.
Just like the Jungians speak about. Reveal, illuminate, enlighten, liberate, clear the cobwebs.
Something that's, sorry to interrupt. You left here driving
I did, yeah.
to go to Mexico.
20
How many
hours.
days was that?
I made it in 2. I did like 5 hours the first day, 15 the second day, something like that. And it's the first time I've done it myself.
By yourself?
To summer solstice. I've driven to Española for my teacher training, because I did my teacher training there as well. But yeah, myself, first time going to solstice.
Okay.
Yeah. Not the most ideal, although I had a great fun time. And, you know, I had people back home calling me and checking in on me. Very loved.
20 hours, and what did you see along the way?
The first day, not much, although I did see the second day on the way over there, the most beautiful sunset. I was driving, finally you enter New Mexico, and of course Kansas is like entirely flat and not much there. Missouri has its moments, the Mississippi for instance, but in New Mexico things take a 180 and it's gorgeous, mountains, deserts. I was driving through the panhandle of Oklahoma, and then I get to New Mexico and it's still a little, not the best, but then after an hour or two, I think it's called the Carson National Forest, which goes across multiple states, and then it's like Cinnabar Forest, and then there's Eagle's Nest, and then I'm entering the Sangre de Cristo, Blood of Christ mountain range, where we hold the festival, where I lived in New Mexico, also in Colorado. So I spent like probably almost a year there now, if I add in like the solstices of my life there. Beautiful land of the Hopis, Pueblo peoples. So yeah, the Cinnabar, kind of this like winding foresty road, and then you get to Eagle's Nest. And there's like, you know, a river moving through the forest there, pine trees, and then Eagle's Nest is, it's like mountain lake town, and the sun was setting, perfect timing as I drove up there. Yeah, I always like getting there. It's just like, you know, a small town there.
Yeah.
And on the way back, I drove through that same area, but through a different route. I wanted to try it out. And there's like a pretty high peak. I forget the name. It's a pretty high mountain peak, which I want to check out. It might be the tallest peak in New Mexico.
Okay.
So maybe next year I'll like climb that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I had so much fun. I kind of wanted to like spend as much time in Chicago, and then I rushed over there.
Yeah.
And then same thing. I wanted to get back here so quick. I rushed back.
Yeah.
But
that whole thing about living in the moment.
Yeah, sure. But it's when home is home, good. It's like,
yeah. I mean, Chicago's a great place to be in the summer. I think it's one of the best cities in the world.
Yeah, the first day back, I went right to the harbor.
Yeah.
Had a beautiful time. And then on the way back, I stopped in Kansas City and saw my white tantric partner from April, Jessica, and she's a Kundalini yoga instructor out there.
Fun.
So it was nice to see her and touch base, share the good energy and love from the festival. Also stopped at Cafe Gratitude Cafe. It's a chain.
In Kansas?
Yeah, it's a chain in California, but they have a location in Kansas City.
Okay.
They were even going to open one in Chicago before the lockdowns and everything. They have really good vegan food and smoothies and juices and desserts. So it's kind of a ritual me and my friends do.
You're mentioning you went raw?
I mentioned that too, yeah. So in June, which I broke at the solstice because we're having very cooked Ayurvedic food.
Yeah.
Ayurveda does not like raw.
No.
But yeah, in the month of June, for my birthday, before leaving, a friend of mine was raw. She was hanging out with me and living with me, and we had a lot of juice and salads, and raw food, cooked, not cooked,
Uncooked.
uncooked, yeah.
Did you notice?
Prepared.
Did you notice any sorts
It
of?
just feels good, like my energy feels good, energy levels.
Okay.
Feel like content, lighter.
Yeah.
Kind of, she's a very high frequency kind of person.
For me, raw
Doesn't.
foods do the opposite.
Yeah, to each their own body
Yeah.
type, constitution.
Yeah, I do much better with the cooked Ayurvedic style.
Yes, the Ayurvedic food there is delicious. Khichdi, mung beans, rice.
I know.
Dal, like carrots, beets, sprouts, salads,
If I had access,
quinoa, grapevine leaves, hummus, tortillas. They have like a system, and
Yeah.
that's the lunch and dinner there, or dinner and lunch.
if I had access to that quality food at all times, like cooked, I would have no issues being a vegetarian or a vegan.
Well, it's possible to do
Yeah.
yourself.
I would say vegetarian more than vegan because I do think it is okay to eat animal byproduct.
Sure, I mean they incorporate ghee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is a yogurt option as well.
Honey.
Yeah, honey is available for the yogi tea.
Yeah.
Yogi tea was always available. Golden milk was available during the white tantric
It's
days.
lovely.
Which is a must.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, quite the events. You know, it's all like held together by service exchange people, like the cooks or like the food servers. They take the brunt of the service, and then there's, you know, the trash, green team, recycling. I was the sadhana manager, so I was a one-man team, making sure the sadhana mornings ran smoothly, keeping the communication between the japji leaders, kriya leaders, mantra musicians, and the sound team,
Oh, wow.
and myself, and the musician team.
Does everyone who go
So-
essentially be part of a team?
So even if you buy a ticket, like a full ticket, that's not a service exchange, there's still like a karma yoga part of it, where like half an hour or an hour out of the day you would assist one of those teams. And I'd say a lot of people get like a half off ticket with a service exchange. And then there's like maybe 20 or so managers who also get a big discount.
Very nice.
It makes it like very family, you know.
Yeah.
We're all feeling the pressure and stress depending
Yeah.
level doing our job.
Yeah,
So
for
there's
sure.
a lot of grace and compassion between everyone. Ideally.
Yeah.